So additional consideration is a new and enhanced process that we've introduced this year, and this replaced what we previously used to call mitigating circumstances and generic mitigation and mitigating circumstances of unrepresentative performance. So this has been developed in partnership with the Brighton Student Union and really sort of reflects and builds on the experiences that we have in supporting our students' circumstances both before and during the pandemic. And it really reflects sector best practice. It's all about continuing to ensure that we're supporting you to achieve your full potential. You can submit a request for additional consideration if you're experiencing a serious, unforeseen or unavoidable circumstance that's going to affect your ability to really engage with your studies, with your learning, or your ability to complete an assessment. And there are two ways in which you can go about doing that. So the first way is a new addition that we have this year, and that's a self-certification route. So that would apply if something happens, an emergency happens, which is going to affect your ability, for example, to participate or attend a time-bound assessment, so an exam or a practical skills assessment. And if the situation that you're experiencing is going to have an impact on you for 7 days or less. In those circumstances, you can make a request for self-certification, and that means that you don't need to provide any supporting documentation. The second way that you can make an additional consideration request is, for example, if it's in relation to your coursework or assignment and something's happened that you can't avoid, a circumstance has occurred, and it's going to have an impact on you for more than 7 days, it's going to cause you to perhaps miss a submission deadline, or it's going to impact upon your ability to perform your best in your assessment. In those circumstances, you make that request and you will provide supporting documentation for that. So if your application is successful, what that means is you'll be able to then undertake your assessment during the normal resit period without penalty, which is obviously a very positive outcome. Yeah, it's really important actually that you weigh up your decisions here, because obviously while additional consideration, it's all about supporting you. Sometimes it might not be the best option. So if, for example, you're a final year student, if you then sort of submit a request and then obviously undertake your assessment in a resit period, that might delay your graduation date. So that's something to take on board. The other thing also that's really important to remember is that it's really always better, if you can, to undertake your assessment that's much closer to your learning rather than wait for the resit period. So in those situations, it might sometimes be better to request an extension to deadline as the most appropriate route. The key thing is you need to speak to your personal academic tutor or SGT or the BSU, and they'll be able to give you the right kind of advice, support you in making the decision, and always make sure you have that discussion with them before you submit your request. Given that we know that the impact is still with us, unfortunately, and the continuing impact that's had on our students this year, we have revised our degree classification process. So what that means, if you're a final year student, then we'll be taking the best 80 out of 120 credits for your final year, weighted at 75%, and the best 80 out of 120 credits for the last academic year, weighted at 25%. So what that means is that 40 credits each year, so your lowest performing 40 credits each year, will be discounted from your final degree classification. In order to have that classification applied, you do need to pass all of your modules. So it's obviously really important to know that. And there might be some circumstances where some calculation may need to be different for some students. And that might be the case, for example, if that you are on a course which is accredited by a professional body. And that professional body may have particular requirements about your classification. But if that's the case and that affects you, then your school will be in contact with you to let you know that. Yeah, so if you're a level 5 student or a second year student, we will also be taking on board the impact of the pandemic for this year for you as well. So what that means is that for this year, we will take your best 80 out of 120 credits weighted at 25%. But next year, when you're in your final year, we are planning to be using the standard classification process. If you're a first year, then obviously your degree, your marks this year don't count towards your final degree classification. But so the standard classification process will apply for your level 5 and level 6 for your second and third year. But obviously, it's still really important this year that you use this time to really develop and sharpen your study skills, your writing skills, and of course, your disciplinary knowledge and skills to help prepare you for the work ahead. Yeah, I appreciate this is probably a lot of information to take in, and you need to make the right decision for you. So who you need to speak to would be your personal academic tutor, your SSGT, or the BSU, and they will be able to advise you and enable you to make that right choice and the right decision moving forward. And again, as I said, they'll really be able to kind of help support you in any ongoing difficulties. We are here to support you to achieve your full potential, and we want you to make the right decision to help you do that.